How's it going, football fans? I'm David Hasek, here with the czar of the playbook, Emery Hunt, in Midtown Manhattan, where we've just took in the Bushnell Cup award ceremony here at the Hilton Midtown. Some surprise winners a little bit, perhaps, of the finalists. Obviously, all the finalists deserving, but let's start with the Offensive Player of the Year. Chad Knopf wins out of Princeton.
Yeah, I was at that Princeton-Lafayette game earlier in the season. This was a guy that did excellent. And you talk about a passer that was strictly playing the quarterback position. We heard Coach Cerise talk about how he and John Lovett had to sacrifice, because we know John Lovett was the all-everything player that ran the football well, threw the football well, also even caught some passes for touchdowns. And now you lose him for the year, and Knopf was able to step right in and play one-dimensional football and nearly lead Princeton to a championship. So not surprised that he won the award. He had a great year, and glad for him. He may even see some time in an all-star game later on down the line.
I think he definitely deserves it. I mean, the kind of year that he's had, obviously Princeton had their struggles this year, but certainly he was a standout. On defense, Matt Opplinger, defensive end from Yale, incredible season for this young man.
Yeah, the first Yale football player to win the award ever. Defensive player. And again, if you talk about a defense, we talked about the Ivy League all season long and how great the defense was from top to bottom. Yale was one of the best defenses in the nation and also in the Ivy League, and I'm not surprised that their best player won this award.
And definitely, without a doubt there. You talk about Yale all season long. We talked about how great a story they were, how many young players there were, but it was the veterans like Opplinger being a leader on the defensive side of the ball that was certainly what mattered. Let's move forward now to 2018, and let's talk about who we think could be finalists this year. I know you've got a couple names on your list that you want to throw out for Offensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, it's never too early to look at 2018. One guy...
The big board's already up.
Exactly, the big board's already up. 2018 New York City, I would be remiss if I didn't mention Josh Wainwright, the wide receiver from Columbia. Saw him as a freshman, a true freshman, put on a show with the special teams in the special teams department. This past season, he really blossomed as a receiver and a total weapon. I think he's a shoo-in for the finalists this year if he just continues to do what he has done the first 2 years for the Lions.
Well, I'm going to throw out a name in there as well, and it's hard to do this. It's going into a sophomore season this year. Zane Dudek, running back from Yale, incredible season in his first year, 15 touchdowns, over 1,100 yards rushing. I mean, you know, as a freshman, that's very, very tough to do. Whether or not he becomes a finalist next year because he's only a sophomore, I don't know, but I think he deserves it. I think he deserves to be in the running for this, at least in the next 3 years. Very special young man that they're going to have a lot of fun running that offense with him in the backfield.
Yeah, defensively, I think you look at a guy that played on the same defense as we just saw here with the Penn Quakers in Jay Cameron, the defensive back to safety. This was a guy that was second or third on the team in tackles, really was around the football, and was one of the key cornerstones of that Quaker secondary. And I think, again, you look at a team like Penn, getting better defensively could push them to the top of the Ivy League standings in 2018.
I think one other guy you have to take a look at going into his senior year, you kind of look at Jack Trainer out of Dartmouth, linebacker, led the team in tackles, almost 100 tackles this year. He's been a consistent force in the second level for Dartmouth, and we saw what Dartmouth could do this year. Certainly one of the good stories this year in the Ivy League. He was a big piece of that. I think he could be somebody who could be back here next year in New York looking at an award, and I think he could probably win it. Looking at all the finalists that we had this year compared to what he's been able to put up, I think he's right there in the running. Folks, that'll do it from here at the Midtown Hilton here in New York City. For Football Game Plan, I'm David Hasek. He's Emery Hunt. Thanks for watching.